what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rail back with another review, man. Hey, this is Game of Thrones season 1, episode 9. But before we get into that, salute to everybody that wished me well. I'm getting better. I'm getting down that road. You know what I'm saying? Recovery. I'm in recovery. I ain't got no snot tissue, so we upgraded. Still got this goddamn canker sore up in the roof of my mouth, though. It's a motherfucker, boy. God, I don't even know how you get these things. But anyway, salute to y'all, man. Discord gang, you know what it is. All people on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and you, the viewer. Much love to y'all. This episode, this was an important episode for me personally. Not because of how it ended, but mainly because it reminded me just how fucking dumb I am. Like, I forgot a lot. And I just want to start off with that one point before we get into it. I was today years old when I realized that Jorah, Khaleesi's like personal bodyguard, is the son of the commander of the wall. I was like, what? I've rewatched like this season a billion times. And it wasn't until today, which I am very ashamed of, that I had oh my God, that was his father? This is the one he disgraced? I was like, oh my God, what? Where was I? And I forgot the Citadel dude was a Targaryen. Oh my God. I was just like, I'm so stupid. For sure. And I messed around and blamed Cersei for the death of Ned, which was not the case. God, I was like, damn, where have I been, man? I see, this is what happens when you try to watch Game of Thrones and you be having your phone because you're just confident, like you know what's going on. I love these rewatches. I'm so stupid. I just, oh my God, I'm so ashamed. But I could have kept that to myself. But, you know, Real gonna keep it a buck, so I had to share with y'all. I would love to know if any times when during our rewatch did y'all go, oh, what? Yeah, this whole time, that's what it was? Like, please, don't make me be the only one. Or is everybody just super intuitive and paying attention all the time? Like, yeah, I'm sure. Anyway, so, episode 9. This was a powerful episode. I'm going to out the gate give it a 10 out of 10. It was so good. From the way it started to the way it ended. So you had Baelys, the spider. You had him come down there and meet with Ned again. And that conversation, his conversations with Ned are so perfect. When them two don't have to like during this season, anytime they talked, it was like, in code. And it wasn't until shit was hitting the fan that the spider just was like, you know what? I'm going to, Varys was just like, I'm just going to let you know, I'm finna just speak plain. Like, shit's about to hit the fan. This is what you should do. Boom, boom, boom. Be on the lookout. Like, I love that. I love when they just canned it. And this is one of their candid conversations. And this is what I missed afterwards. Like, because then we see Varys just being his normal sneaky self. Like, just moving behind the shadows. Very few times does he get to, like, outwardly speak his mind. And even with his little back and forth with Littlefinger, it was like they was like sub dissing each other in person. Like they was just subtweeting each other, but like live. Everybody, they knew what they were saying to each other, but they still just wouldn't outwardly say it. And it says something to that. So I appreciate the times when they just keep it a buck. And they're just down there like, yo, well, you must become my best friend now. And he's just like, what the fuck do you want, man? Like, I love Ned. He's like, what do you want? I don't want to hear about these goddamn tricks and these words, and just please, plain talk. I'm from the north. Give it to me straight up. What do you want? And he just answers, I want peace. Your son is coming down here with an army starting shit. That means a lot of death for a lot of people. I don't want it. So, to avoid this, how about you just come out and say, hey, because Cersei don't want to kill you. That line when he told him like she feels keeping a wolf alive than dead is a better like will be better use of it. And I'm like, oh, that's a bar. So he's trying to persuade him to just be like, look, just come to the people, admit that everything you said was some bullshit, and you good. You don't have to die. You can live out your days at the wall, with your bastard son and your brother. It's not the best, but you alive. But what he didn't realize is he was appealing to a motherfucker who could care less about death. I said, oh. And that was something else I realized. I used to come down on Ned all the time. Because I'd watch and I'd be like, God, he's so stupid. He just jumps out the window like he's not tactical, But when I rewatch, like as I'm really rewatching, I was like, oh, it's because he a gangster. He wasn't dumb. He just didn't give a shit. And that's powerful. I mean, it didn't work out for him. You know what I'm saying? When keeping it real goes wrong, that's like the definition. But I appreciated him. When he said that line to Varys and looked at him and said, oh, you must think my life is something precious to me. I said, oh, bars. I dropped the mic. I had to pause the TV. I said, oh, that was hard. Oh my God. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. I know I like super geek out when I do this part. When I do like the Game of Thrones and shit. Cause I like this shit. I like talking though. Obviously. Microphone, you guys, you see what it is. But I appreciate dialogue over everything. Like, I watched a billion movies where there is zero action, but the wordplay is so fucking masterful. I'm like, this is the greatest shit I've ever seen. So I'm a person that appreciates the fucking tongue tango, if you will. I don't even know if that makes sense, but you feel me. So when he looked and said, you must think that I'm somebody who think my life to be precious. I said, God. That was just his way of saying, I don't give a fuck, nigga. I die right here. I don't care. And that put a pause in Varys for a second. But then he reminded him, like, okay, I respect that, gangster. But how about your daughters? Does their life mean anything to you? And that's what, you can only be gangster when it comes to yourself. But the second you have kids, like your life, your responsibilities, it's no longer about you. It's all about the preservation of your people, your family, your kids, and how they gonna end up. And that's what took the air out of his sails. That was tough talking to you, bring up his baby girls, and it's like, fuck. He's got a point there. Me, I could die tomorrow, I don't give a shit. But my baby's getting hurt, that's something different. And these people are capable of doing terrible things to my daughter. So, all right. So that gave him something to think about. And while they doing that, we go to the war camp with Tywin. Setting it up in this way, he lets him know, like, yeah, you and your crew, front and center. That's where y'all gonna be. And I love how Tyrion just looked at his father like, it's clearly there's better ways to get me killed than this. Like, are we dead ass? Like, this is the way I'm gonna go? And Tywin just looked at him, and then he just lost his appetite, he left out. But the way Tywin looked at him, like, I don't know what that look was. I honestly, because I'm conflicted when it comes to Tywin's feelings on Tyrion. Because from the perspective, like the easy perspective is, yeah, put my son out front and center and I could get rid of him because I never liked him. That seems like an easy, like, boom, that takes care of itself. He fought honorably. We could have a nice burial or burn your body, whatever. And you could at least die with some honor. That seems like the easy Tywin. But I always think it's something more complicated to Tywin. Like, not so much that he hates Tyrion. More so it's like, I'm not about to, like, if you were Jaime, like, treating him just as an equal son. Not treating him like the half man. Like, if Jaime needed to get his, if Jaime acted in the way that you did, careless, doing this, And I would put him up front and center. If he put himself in a fucked up situation, I would put him up there to fight. So I felt like it's just holding him accountable. I don't think Tywin is really trying to get him killed, but I could be wrong. You know, I'll be digging too deep. But Tywin and Tyrion's relationship has always been a thing that I've been on both sides about. Like, I argue with myself. I'm like, does Tywin really love Tyrion, like low key, and just treats him like an equal? Like, I don't see him as a half man. I don't see him as a person with a disability. I just see him as my son who is a piece of shit. And my wife died giving birth to a piece of shit. All he does is whore and get drunk. And that's why he's mad. And not that he's none of that. It's just that if you were like, he could come out exactly like that, but if he was an upstanding dude, I don't think he'd hold no ill will toward his son. But Tyrion's thing is always, you know, I'm the freak of the family and father never liked me for that. And I just think that's an easy cop out. You know what I'm saying? Just putting more smut on the great Tywin's name. But anyway, it's wartime. And I do like how Tyrion came out, well, that night before, right? Bronn brings him a new little piece. And she's not like any other whores he had. She could hold a conversation and she ain't going for the shit. And he instantly takes a liking to her. Hell, I take a liking to her. You know what I'm saying? Bronn is always coming through. But you see, the most important thing is we see where that hate that Tyrion has for his father, but you can see why he still loves his brother, because, you know, his brother was doing what he thought was right, setting up the whole rape scene, which is nasty. Like, did anybody else, when Tyrion told that story about how the girl had a clothes stripped and it was two rapers coming to get her and Jaime saves her and then he nurses her back to health with food, and then when he breaks it down and tells you like, oh yeah, Jaime has set that whole thing up because he thought that it was time for me to get laid. I'm like, only some sick sister fucking dude would consider setting up a rape scene in which Tyrion's not even the hero in this. He's the babysitter of the almost raped. So you fed her and then you got some ass. I was just like, where's the strip club, my guy? Like, if you thought your little brother, it was time, why not just take him to a really nice whorehouse? It's several in town. You have lots of money. Why did we have to set up this elaborate shit for Tyrion? So, I mean, if you question that, then you got to question the kind of kid that Tyrion was. In order, if at 16, you felt it was time for your brother to get some, but you felt the only way he was going to do it is if it came with some type of nobility, then that means that at 16, Tyrion was a real sweetheart. Like, just like, no, you know, I'm going to wait till I find love before I have sex. Not the Tyrion we know now. Not the debaucherous Tyrion. He had to be something completely opposite of himself. So it's almost funny that Jaime sets up this elaborate shit and then Tyrion falls in love, as Tyrion would, because back then he was a lover. And then Tywin, to teach him the difference between whores and what House of Dragon would call lady wives, is that your lady wife cannot be bought with silver. Meanwhile, this one you're about to marry, which that you married, I'm about to give her silver to fuck everybody around here. And I'm going to make you watch. So the thing is so funny, because the thing that Tywin hates about Tyrion is what Tywin turned Tyrion into. He created this monster. And it was a sad story. Like, you feel bad for Tyrion because it's like, all the men in your family are disgusting, bro. Like, that's tough. Bronn even said, I'd kill the man who did that to me. Message. And, you know, I love how his girl, I can't think of her name, but the new lady that was up in the tent, I love how she said, you should know she was a whore. You mean to tell me She was running from getting raped, and then like 2 hours later, after some chicken, she ready to fuck. That sounds. And he's like, Tyrion's like, look, man, I know. Like, hindsight, yes. I was 16 though. So it's like, damn, shoot him some bail. But we get it. And Tyrion goes into battle, knocked the fuck out. But what I liked about it is his speech. Tyrion is a true leader. He gives you, like, look, he may be hesitant. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to be on the front line, but he does it. When Lady Stark was getting attacked in the mountain, he knew, like, okay, she is clearly confused. I'm not going to let her die here. So he jumped out there to fight a man 3 times the size and win and catch a body. It's like Tyrion will give it his all once he's in the situation, whether he wants to be there or not. His father told him what it was. He fucking was upset against it. But when it came time, he gave a rousing speech. They chanted half man. Got them all riled up. And he was ready to go out there and fight with them. And probably would have died had he not got knocked out by one of his own people by accident first. Which is hilarious. But he wakes up to find out that they won that battle. But only because it was just 2,000, not the 20. And I love when Tyrion's asking for a report from Tywin about the war. He's like, well, did we at least get the boy? Did we get Robb? He's like, no, we didn't. And Tyrion's like, well, where is he? And Tywin goes, with his other 18,000 men. And I'm like, oh, Tywin's a fucking genius. Like, that is, he knows that he's been had. Cut to, we got Jaime now. And Jaime does what Jaime does best when he's in front of Robb. He tries to play against a man's ego. That whole, I'm better than you. Like, come on, fight me. We could put this to bed right now. Like this motherfucker's Achilles from Troy. We ain't got to do this. Just one man versus one man. Whoever wins, we go our separate ways. And Robb just simply lets him know, like, no, my guy, no. Because if we fight 1v1, you win. Not having it. We're doing it my way. So where I win. So I'm respecting Robb. But before all this, they had to cross the bridge. Before any of these interactions happened, Robb had to march his army across the bridge. And what was it? Lord Frey? William Frey? He runs the shit. We all know William Frey. Oh, God. And we all fucking hate him. But I must say, as old and as creepy as he is, he too was a gangster. Lady Stark volunteered. Like, I'd known him since I was a child. I'm like, who gives a shit? And when she walked in there, that's exactly what he said. Who gives a shit? I know who you are. Why I gotta be nice in my own palace? Son's constantly being like, show some respect. He's like, what the fuck? Like, what? This is my crib. This is my kingdom. And her people don't fuck with me. He had that talk like, oh, now you need me. I got all these fucking sons and daughters unmarried. Your father didn't want to link us up at all with none of his, with none of mine. Now you need to cross the bridge. Now you need me. Now we're good friends. Now we're going to pretend like your people ain't shit on me. So I understand. I truly do. I think we all understand the William Frey. Because we all got a friend. We all got associates. Like Lady Stark. Who don't fuck with us all year, maybe for years. We throw parties. We send invites to little evites. They don't attend. They don't do none of that shit. But if they in a jam, or if they need us to put in a good word for them for something, here they come. Hey, you think you could write me a referral? Hey, I got them calling. You think you could? Hey, my car broke down. I know you stay around the way. You think you could come scoop me? What? My guy, you didn't answer none of my evites. I ordered extra chicken and fries, thinking you was coming. You hit maybe, my guy. You could just tell me no. So we all have been there. And we've all felt that way. Like, man, fuck you. You only want me when you need me. But you don't fuck with me anytime outside of that. So, as much as we hate William Frey, we cannot ignore the fact, all right, that yeah, he's right. We are so Team Stark. I know a lot of y'all are when you're watching this part. A lot of y'all so Team Stark that you're like, man, this fucking piece of shit old dude, like, just help us out so we get across this bridge. Yeah, that's called entitlement. Y'all falling victim to it. So let's not kill William Frey for how he feels. And but he worked it out. So now Robb has to get married to one of his daughters, and Arya has to get married to one of his sons when she comes of age. I say, yo, that's gonna be the tougher sale. Arya getting married, like, yeah, that one, shit. I'd have been like, damn, you could, because they have another little brother. I'm like, you, how about we? Because Arya's a hard sell. I know Arya loves her family, but in no way, in no circumstance, unless there was knife to throat, do I think Arya would go through with marrying any dude that she did not choose herself. So this whole deal was doomed to fail. Even if Robb goes through with everything on his end, following through with that Arya shit, short of her dying herself, I don't think that would have ever happened. So yeah, they started that negotiation on, yeah, fuck it, we'll take care of him later. Get across this bridge now. But I do respect Robb. He made a good tactical move by sending dude and letting him know, like, we got 20,000. So he got Tywin all pumped up. Remember when he let the scout go? He let Tywin know, like, hey, he got 20,000. I'm like, yeah, let him know that. So when they see I'm marching, I'm not bringing 20. I'm bringing 2. And we're going to take my other 18 around the corner. And I like how Robb set that up right then and there on the spot. He was like, I could use this to my advantage. But I also like the way he didn't want to celebrate this huge victory because he just sacrificed 2,000 people. Like, could any of y'all imagine being in a position where you set up a plan where 2,000 people die? Like, guaranteed, they're not coming back. How do you choose those 2,000? How do you have that conversation? And how do you sleep knowing, like, that's 2,000 families that just got fucked by your decision? And it's like, that's a heavy burden. And I felt like he wore that pretty good. So you just learn to fall in love with Robb, but it's never easy being on top. Everybody want to be on top, but when you got to make them type of decisions, you know. So he checks everybody's excitement. Like, man, this shit ain't over till it's over. So we got one half. So far, so good. He's got Jaime, and that's a huge piece. Because they didn't have nothing. While all the Lannisters had the father and the sisters. So, meanwhile, out there in Dothraki land, the call is fucked up. Now, I know that the lady was supposed to heal him, and that was a little scratch. So it's looking like she poisoned him, right? Like, this was on purpose. So now the Khaleesi's out bad. Everybody told her she's a witch, stay away from her, but Khaleesi is just so anti-slavery, which I'm not mad at. You know, that she wanted to make a point. Like, you already saved these women. You didn't need to go the extra mile in showing the value of said women by allowing one to, like, save the life of your husband, who life was not necessarily in danger. I'm sure there was a fucking, like, you mean tell me all the Dothraki, anytime they get a fucking wound, there was nobody ever to sew them up or clean the wound? Like, they're a battle culture. I would think somebody in their tribe would be equipped to helping him out. It was no need for her. So Khaleesi took a gamble, and it fucked her. Because now Khal is fucked up. He's on death's door. Now she's desperate. Because Jorah let her know, like, yo, I'm preparing our escape. Because when he dies, this whole shit goes away. Everybody's going to fight for power. I mean, look at how they celebrate parties. 10 people die when they have a party. Can you imagine what's finna happen when they fighting for power? I couldn't even tell you. But apparently some blood magic is about to happen to save Drogo's life. And at the same time, her baby is coming, but the dude, that other Dothraki, told Jorah like, I overheard them talking, saying that Khaleesi's cursed. That baby ain't coming. It's not happening, and nobody can help her. So Khaleesi's life is looking real. It's on shaky ground right now. This is the only she's been in power and on top for so long. She forgot what it was like to be on the bottom. Now it's real. Now her life is in danger, and everything that she started. So it's looking real bad out there. What else we got to go into? We did the war. We did Tyrion. Oh, Jon at the wall. Jon at the wall. So he's greeted by the commander of the wall, and Jon learns a lot. He gets a Valyrian sword as a thank you for saving my life. Then that's when my dumb ass found out that that's Jorah's dad. I'm like, wow, okay. So that relationship was there. He's feeling a little proud of himself, and he's getting some accolades. Got some haters over there in the corner, but it's whatever. And he has a talk with the blind Citadel leader, and he lets him know, like, yo, you're going to be faced with a choice, and I had to make mine. And he has a discussion, all to let him know, like, yo, you got to make the choice, and you got to live with it. And that's when he found out he was what was not Maker, like Aerys Targaryen or something. I forgot the name. They say it so quick, it's like, I don't know, but he's a Targaryen. But what I liked about that scene, I did like that conversation because of the anger he got when he retold the story. He was like, I was cool here. He passed up the throne. He could have had it. Didn't want it. And then he's like calm, but then he gets increasingly mad when he talks about how he hears about how his brother got murdered, his nephews, and then he was like, the little babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just started increasingly getting, and you felt that. And I was like, damn, that's a powerful scene. And you know what that scene also reminds me of? There is no small characters in Game of Thrones. If they get airtime, if they are on screen and they have lines, they're somebody important, or they move this story in some way. Because before this, I would have just disregarded him as the blind old guy at the wall that just keeps books and shit. And you don't even realize just how important he himself is, and what he sacrificed to be where he is now. For right or wrong. Who knows? Flip the coin. He took over the kingdom. Everything could have been beautiful. So it's just so huge. So there's no minor character in Game of Thrones, because they behead major ones. And that's why Game of Thrones is so good. You have this situation where Ned, clearly a star. He was probably the most known actor to me when I first watched it. I'm like, yeah, I know this guy from other movies. Like, yeah, I know this dude. Yeah. He was a detective or a cop in this, and he was a warrior in this. Like, yeah, I like that guy. Yeah, I know him. He was a bad guy in this. Like, yeah, I know this dude. I'm thinking about what movie he's in now, but I cannot for the life of me say it. So, but yeah. And he's built up to be such a major character that when he decides to say, hey, I'll do this for my daughters, this goes against this is the one time, well, twice, that he goes against his honor. Oh, I'm so sorry. They also had a conversation with Jon Snow about his father and about the choices he made, and how his father's 1 in 1,000. At that same time, now we go back, he goes against all that for his kids. It was basically a foreshadowing. That whole wall scene was a foreshadowing of what was to come for Ned and Jon later on. You know what I mean? So Ned is there in front of these people that hate him, and he is telling these lies in order to save the lives of his daughters. He could care less about himself, exile me, kill me, whatever, just to make sure my children are good. He does all this, the plan goes well, and here comes fucking Joffrey. The start of a reign of the worst king I've ever seen, who, when I first was watching Game of Thrones, it was a time where I'd question myself, like, if by chance I was at a Whole Foods and I saw Joffrey, right? Now, I know he's just a character on TV. But God, would I throw fucking like a mango at his head or some shit? Like, I felt like I would just throw just half the produce aisle at his ass. Hit him with a bag of unsalted sunflower seeds. Just to say, fuck your character. Like, I'm sorry. But the boy, Joffrey acts so well that I hate him in real life. So I gotta say kudos to Joffrey. I don't know his real name. I'm not interested. Don't nobody messaging me his real name. I don't give a shit about his government. But he's a good goddamn actor, and fuck him. So he goes against that and decides to cut Ned's head off. And now this is the holy shit moment for everybody that's ever got into Game of Thrones. Nobody saw that coming. We thought that some fucking Robin Hood arrow would appear out the crowd and save Ned last minute. But what we do notice is Ned looks around. Now, there's several things in this scene that I want to point out. Arya doesn't see the beheading of her father. She's protected. Sansa does. And I think it's important that we note that. Because a lot of people may have beef with Sansa, and then she goes, but Sansa to me has had, like, that's why I'm so excited about this rewatch. But Sansa to me has had such a fucking rough life. I would say, arguably worse than Arya, for sure. Arya had it rough. She had to get it out the mud, literally in the streets, fought for her life. Easy to root for her. Easy to root for Arya. Sansa, though. This day began Sansa's long, hard, miserable journey. I couldn't even imagine being in Sansa's shoes. And that gives me so much more respect for her watching this again, because I'm like, oh, our fearless warrior Arya doesn't even see her father die. Meanwhile, Sansa, thinking she saved her father, not only was unsuccessful, now has to scream and watch him get his head cut off and know it was by her future husband. So it's tough. So I saw that in that scene. That was something I definitely looked forward. I definitely seen. It was another thing. I saw this peace that come over Ned. At first he was shocked when he heard Joffrey's words. Like, oh my fucking God, I just did this for no reason. But then there's a point where he's looking confused and he's looking around, but then he sees that Arya's not there at the statue. He looks over and sees Sansa. And then he has this calm that says, okay, this wasn't planned. I wasn't supposed to die, but I held up my end enough that my daughters would be okay. And that's when he laid his head down. And then one clean ass sweep, that head came off. And that's what I love about Game of Thrones. Because no character is small, you can kill the supposed big ones off. You could kill a Ned Stark because everybody has such an interesting storyline, whether we know it or not. And that's what made this show so amazing. Anybody could get it because anybody was everybody. You see what I just did there? Think about that. That's why the show is so good. What I didn't like about this episode, though, and it was only one thing. I did not appreciate us not being able to see the physical war. I was tight. I wanted to see the fighting. Like, there was 2 wars fought, and we didn't get to see none. We was just as knocked out as fucking Tyrion. But, yeah, that was it. I would have liked to see the violence in that one. We didn't even get to see Ned's head come off. So, but other than that, man, it was perfect. So, yeah. Oh, what am I doing? Tomorrow is Ring of Power, the series. So I figured I'd promote it on this one since we're all Game of Thrones it out right now. Seems to be in. Yes, I will have those out. It seems like on Fridays. So on Friday, look out for a review on Ring of Power on Prime Video. Yes. Well, that's it, man. Protect your health, yourself, your wealth, man. Your boy Rail is out of here. Peace. Yo, I know I don't need no introduction, but y'all know who it is, man. It's your boy Hollywood Rail. And I appreciate you for sliding through and watching these videos. But you know what I need from you? All right, if you ain't already, I need you to like this and subscribe this, man. We at 1,000 trying to get to 2, all right? Push it for your boy. Get them algorithms up. So when it come to that subscribe button,